Hello my friends, my name is Ryan Freeman. Welcome to my channel. Today I have another video regarding teaching English in Taiwan. This was requested from Cooking with Hua in my last video, like my last video. And so thank you for the suggestions. Let's keep it rolling. It's kind of mundane matters. It's nothing, too exciting, but I do hope it does help you. If you have any other questions, put it down below in the comments and give me a thumbs up. So let's talk about flights. Flights. You need to fly to Taiwan to get there. Get here, because that's where I am. It's an island. You're not going to take a boat. So it's pretty far away from other bodies of land. So you're going to fly here. Now, if you are coming over on a public school contract, in that contract is a clause about flights. You should definitely read that. I'm pretty sure it's fairly standard across Taiwan, but do make sure that you check your contract carefully, and if you have any questions, to ask your recruiter. But basically, your flight will be reimbursed to Taiwan. They do not want you to have connections. They prefer if you get a direct flight. However, they will make exceptions if you do need to make connections, as long as those connections are not very long. And here's a tip that I did not know when I was in your shoes preparing to move, that I only learned recently, because actually our semester is about over and I'm going to fly back to America and have a little holiday time. And I just discovered this, because they will reimburse you up to 40,000 NTD each way. So 40,000 NTD to come here and 40,000 NTD at the end of your contract to wherever you want to go. Like I don't have to go back to America. I could take that reimbursement and fly to Greece. It's totally up to you. I'm just going back to America because there's some stuff I want to do and people I want to see. But here's the thing. They will reimburse you for an economy flight, but what I just found out, they don't care if it's economy or economy premium. So I'm flying home economy premium on an airline called Starlux. So economy premium, they have like an extra special bathroom only for economy premium. You get like a better pillow and blanket. You actually get a leg rest. There's like a few little nice things about economy premium that I wouldn't get in economy. And it's sort of a gray area. Your contract might not say anything specifically about which type of economy, but I asked one of the head recruiters that I work with, and they said they don't care. As long as it says economy, you're getting reimbursed. So you will have to pay for the ticket, and you will not get that reimbursement when you fly. After you fly to Taiwan, you will not get that until probably your fourth paycheck. You have to check for the fine details, but it's not until you've actually worked at your school for like a solid 3 months, 3 to 4 months, that you will get that money back. But they will pay you back. How the reimbursement works on the return flight, I haven't looked into, but that's not the subject of this video. So my recommendation is, if you can get an upgraded economy flight that is still within that 40,000 NTD limit, do that. Any extra comfort will go a long ways, because I don't know where you're coming from, but it was a long flight for me. Now, searching for an apartment. It is something that I highly recommend you do not just settle for anything. Let me explain. I got here and I stayed in a hotel. This was during the coronavirus quarantine period, so you will not have to deal with that. You'll probably end up, your coordinator for whatever recruiter that you've signed up with, your coordinator will probably give you a suggestion of some hotels, probably book whatever you decide on when you initially come, so that you have a place to stay when you first land, while you guys are searching for an apartment. Or your school may have some sort of deal with an apartment complex, and so they'll cut you a nice deal and you'll stay like in an apartment instead of a hotel. That's what I did. So you'll have to, all of this, what will happen to you will have to come through your recruiter. But what I can say is, like me and all of the teachers that work at this school, we all stayed in this apartment for some limited amount of time, and we had a limited amount of time to go find our own, permanent domicile, the place that we're going to live while we are here doing this contract. And I was already doing research before I came to Taiwan. I was looking through Facebook groups, but I didn't find a lot of apartments in Taiyuan, the city that I lived in. And the main website that you should definitely take a look at is 591. I'll put a link down below in the comment or in the information section. 591. Now, you might be daunted. It's all in Chinese. But what I did was I looked up on YouTube how to use 591, and there was a bilingual person who explained what each section meant. And if it's as important to you to sort of do as much looking as possible to know what the market is like in the area that you're looking for, I highly recommend you go through one of these tutorials in YouTube, like how to use 591 to find an apartment, where someone can explain. It won't take long to use, assuming that you're somewhat computer savvy. And you can also use Google Translate to help you understand quite a lot of the information. So I was already looking at what apartments were available. And then I do recommend that you communicate to your recruiter as much as possible. Your recruiter or your coordinator, the person who is sort of the liaison between you and your school that you're going to be working at, usually works for the recruiting agency, but may not. They may work directly for the school. My recommendation is that you have a lot of communication to them about what you're looking for, the days that you guys will be able to do apartment hunting. And my recommendation is do not settle for an apartment that you will not be comfortable living in, because some of my coworkers did that. Even though they loved cooking, they got an apartment without a kitchen. And that's like a huge part of their life that they cannot now do. They got an apartment that was much too small. They got an apartment that had tons of mold. They just got it. You might feel pressured by time, and God knows I felt pressured by time to get into an apartment with this limited window before I started work, because I didn't want to spend more money renting out this apartment. I thought it would just be economically much better just to get an apartment as soon as possible. Luckily, it worked out for me. I mean, I hit the pavement hard. I talked to I was very precise with what I needed. Like, I wanted a balcony. I wanted space to set up my desktop computer, my laptop actually, which is kind of like a desktop, the way that I use it. I had certain non-negotiables that I knew would be very important for my happiness. I wanted it to be within a walking distance of the school that I worked at. So just, you might be I was kind of an open book, but the more I thought about it, and the more that you think about it, the more you'll be able to narrow down exactly what kind of apartments you are looking for. And like I said in one of my previous videos, is that your school will reimburse, like in my contract, the contract that I'm on, up to 5,000 NTD for your apartment. So if you're looking at an apartment and it's like 15,000 NTD, well, really the school's giving you 5,000, so it's really only 10,000 to you. And even though like 5,000 NTD, like a 10,000 apartment versus a 15,000 apartment, sounds like a lot, but 5,000 NTD really isn't that much if it's a much nicer apartment in a better location where you're going to be very happy. I also recommend that you get an apartment that is not right on a main road in the city or area that you're planning to move in, because if it's near a main road, you're just going to get a lot of noise from traffic. So you do the research on 591, and then when you get here, probably your coordinator or whatever school liaison who is helping you will be using 591. Both of you guys do it. Both of you guys communicate as much as possible and go see as many apartments as possible. You're going to be tired. You're going to have jet lag, but it's a big decision to find a good apartment. Now, how did I find my apartment? Actually, it wasn't through 591. It was through one of the lovely ladies that work at Premier. She had a friend who was looking for a tenant. She knew I was looking and connected us, and I got a great deal. I ended up not having to pay a realtor's fee. It ended up being the perfect apartment. I found some great options on 591. However, some of those options they didn't want to rent to me because I was a foreigner. You're gonna come across that a lot. There's gonna be a lot of apartments that will not want to rent to you just because you're not Taiwanese. It's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of the situation. There are a lot of apartments that smell really bad. They're very musty. They're very mildewy. There's apartments where you're gonna have to be careful of the noise with your neighbors. I just got this apartment where, goodness gracious, I can be as loud as I want, within reason, pretty much. And it just worked out for me. And it was through word of mouth. So that's another thing. You might ask your liaison or coordinator to put the word out at the school if anyone knows anyone with a room to rent. At least that I lucked out that it worked out that way. So do not settle, because my coworkers here are not happy with where they live. They don't come home and go, "Oh, I'm home," like I do. And also be realistic that you're not gonna, if you're coming from America, you're not gonna find an American size apartment or house to live in. You're not gonna have a backyard. You're not gonna have a jacuzzi. You're not gonna have a pool. So be reasonable. The size of apartments and what is nice here is relative compared to what you might be used to back at home. Banking issues. One thing that I always do before I ever travel internationally, and something that I think everyone should do, is check with your bank whether or not you can use your credit card or your debit card overseas without any issues. My bank, I need to give a travel notice so that they don't think it's some sort of suspicious scam where someone has got my credit card information and they're trying to use it overseas. Make sure that you definitely alert your bank and credit card companies so that they know that you will be in Taiwan and they're gonna ask you usually where you're gonna be. Just say Asia. Say Taiwan, but say Asia, or just say abroad, make it as open as possible, because maybe you're in Taiwan, but then you fly to the Philippines for a vacation, who knows? And how long will you be traveling? Let them know you're going to be there for a very long time. So just stay on top of that, because the last thing you want to do is get to Taiwan and you can't take any money out, or they decline your credit card because the credit card company or your bank thinks it's some sort of suspicious activity. So do be careful with that. I have had a lot of problems with that. So watch out. Let your bank know. Now, you will have a Taiwanese bank pretty soon, and you won't need to draw money from your home bank, presumably. And that will be set up pretty fairly soon. I mean, it was, I believe, my first week of work. So maybe it was the second week I got there. I ended up going to the bank with my coordinator, it's the Post Bank, and which is widespread. I have no ATM withdrawal fees at any of the convenience stores, so I can use it pretty much everywhere. It was pretty easy. A lot of the people that I've worked at in the bank, they all speak a little adequate enough English that they could help you even without someone. They'll give you a little stamp thing with your own name. It's kind of cool. Your own symbol. I don't know if that makes sense. You'll go through this whole process at the bank signing up, and you'll end up with a bank card, and you'll put a deposit, a nominal deposit, because you're not going to have your first paycheck right away. Usually it will, I don't know how your school will be, but my school pays once a month, like the 15th of every month. So I just had a little bit of money in there for a while, and then the first paycheck didn't come for several weeks, and now I just use that bank account. Yeah, so that's it for the flights, the apartments, and the banking. Another thing to consider is your electronics. Do check whatever country you're coming from, whatever you're bringing over, that you will have the right adapters. Taiwan, fortunately for us Americans, uses the same voltage and the same types of plugs, so that was nice. I've lived in China and Japan and have had to use adapters or just buy completely new electronics, so this was very nice for me. So just beware of that. And if you have large feet, I was reading online that it's pretty much impossible to find relatively large shoes. I'm like a size 12 and I have a very wide foot, 12 American. But actually, I will find large shoes. I mean, you might not have the selection that you would in America, but I have been able to find shoes that fit me here in Taiwan. Now, I do live in Taoyuan, which is really close to Taipei, so I could do shoe shopping in Taipei, which will obviously have more options. But I do think it's smart if you have, Taiwanese people are smaller, both shorter and thinner than the average American. So their clothes, the average clothes size is smaller. So depending upon what type of person you are, what your style is, just imagine that not everything is going to be available here exactly how you want it. You will probably be able to find whatever you're looking for, but not everything. Those types of things are the only considerations that I can think of. Can you think of anything else? Do you have any questions? Put it down in the comments. My name is Ryan Freeman. Bye.